And we're back. This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the Comic Culture Warrior video channel, where we often get our comic artists and stories mixed up, or I get them mixed up and then I screw him up. It's going to be another wonderful Life with Jose hosting this week on the blog.
People wonder why I hate you so much.
Thank you. Well, you people think it's not real. It's real. Anyway, we got two more books we want to look at. We're going to call this the Girl Power section because...
Do we have to? Do we have to do what Marvel does and label their books girls for girls, by girls? And
just like that, bam, you changed my mind. Yeah. We're not going to call it that. But we are going to talk about...
Well, we shouldn't really be talking about Marvel business policies.
Not really, no, because we're not qualified. We have two books that are female-centric because they have female protagonists. The first one being Power Girl, issue number 13, with a new creative team, Judd Winnick and Sammy Basri. A little bit of controversy. I know a lot of folks on the blog were expressing their displeasure that the team of Jimmy Palmiotti, Justin Gray, and Amanda Conner were leaving the book. So they put in, a good year's worth.
Yeah, you got a whole year run.
A whole year run with them. And you brought in a new team. If you had not read Power Girl before, actually, this is really kind of a nice jumping on point for you two.
Mm-hmm.
But I read this issue with the same sort of trepidation that I know a lot of you expressed out there. And I gotta say, at first blush, I was pretty impressed.
Mm-hmm.
I first have become a Judd Winnick convert. It's no secret, I was not a big fan of Judd Winnick's before. Back in his Green Lantern run, a lot of stuff they did, I wasn't terribly happy with the way he handled the characters. But it seems that since then, he's really come a long way as a writer and has a solid handle on particular characters, I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
Handles Titans really well, or handles Dick Grayson really well. And he also seems to have the same type of handle on Power Girl here. Nothing is lost in the translation. Same, humor, whimsy, and yet,
not as humorous.
There was a bit.
But I'm not saying. But I mean, all right. So here's the main difference. Again, I picked up the first issue because I didn't know how this book was going to be because Palmiotti, Gray, and Amanda Conner, that was the Power Girl team.
Yeah, they were meant to make that book.
The main difference is that the Power Girl series under them before was kind of in its own little universe.
Right.
Okay. It didn't cross over with any books. It just if you just wanted to read Power Girl, you didn't read anything else to read Power Girl.
That's true.
Because it was its own continuity and you got everything in there. This book, the main difference now is that they're actually integrating this Power comic into DC continuity, current continuity with Brightest Day.
And especially the whole Justice League International.
Yeah, because there's parts of this story that take place in Justice League Generation Lost #1.
Right. Or before that, leading up
to it, and actually in there, because the scene where she's with Booster Gold,
yes.
it expands on that scene, what was actually going on, where in the comic it was one page, and here is half the book.
Right. Well, and because Judd Winnick worked on Generation Lost,
he's writing both of them. We should mention that. So
he knows how to line it up
exactly.
Right, and he can say, okay,
and it worked really well.
It did work really well.
So that's the #1 difference is that this is now a pretty big continuity heavy Power Girl.
Right.
But there was humor in it, but not nearly as much because almost in every issue of the Palmiotti, Gray, and Conner Power Girl, there's always humor. There's always boob jokes. There's always slapstick.
That's true.
This is a little bit more serious in tone, but there is still bits of humor in there, so it's not completely serious, which is something I was worried about.
Right. Well, no, I mean, Judd Winnick, again, the old Judd Winnick used to be a little too didactic and heavy-handed.
But he can write humor if he wants. Barry Ween is some funny shit.
Oh, it is. And with this, though, it shows his light touch. He shows his lighter touch.
And that's exactly what I was hoping was going to happen.
And the other thing too is this artwork is also really good.
I like it. I don't know I don't know who Sammy Basri is. If anyone knows if they've worked on anything else, but that was another thing. I'm like, I like the art on here. It's more a little bit more detailed than Amanda Connor's, but not that detailed.
Right.
It's got a very like kind of manga feel to it. But no, I know I really like this art a lot. I really like it a lot.
And there's great, there are just a lot of little scenes where it's just people talking, back and forth, and Basri handles that very well. And then you have action.
Yeah, there's lots of action.
Also handled very well. Yeah, it makes you sit and go, wow, this is this book doesn't skip a beat, and it just goes to show that when it comes to the Power Girl book, DC doesn't want to let up on the quality on this book.
No, this book is quality, like very high quality. I was very, very impressed with how this book was put together.
So this is to me how you do a female character.
Yeah, and another reason why this is a good jumping on point is that they go through the whole thing of like they did in Justice League Generation Lost, where all the superheroes forget about Maxwell Lord, and they show her forgetting, but then that's kind of interesting that he actually showed how he erased it from their memory and how everyone still remembers everything that they do, but just not Maxwell Lord. So they do this great 2-page spread where it's her remembering all this stuff, and for anyone who's never read Power Girl, this is her origin story.
Right.
And it fits within the context of the story. They give you a nice little synopsis of who she is, where she's from. And I don't know, I really like the way that they worked that in there.
Yeah, no, it was very well done.
It was pretty clever. It's just a very well done book all around.
And it does a clever thing at the end where, I don't want to spoil it, but Power Girl essentially becomes Tony Stark at the end.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, no way.
Okay, and then the other book, and there's no surprise that we like this one because of the creative team on it. Namora by Jeff Parker with artwork by Sarah Pichelli. This is kind of an Agents of Atlas spin-off with Namora.
Well, DC has been... This is... DC, sorry.
Marvel.
This is the year of the woman at Marvel.
Okay.
So we have Girl Comics, we have Heroes, but it's like Heroes.
Heroes, right.
You have Heralds. It's like really Marvel just slammed that into people's faces. Like, look, the word "hers" in there. It's about women. Girl Comics. Girls gotta like it. And so they're releasing a lot of female-centric one-shots. They did the Firestar one.
Yeah.
This one, there is a Valkyrie one coming out. But the reason I bought this one is because Jeff Parker wrote it. And Namora is a badass in Agents of Atlas.
Badass in Agents of Atlas, and you see in here, Namora is dispatched to find the different, all of these Atlanteans that have been wandering the oceans and try to get them back together again.
Because that's actually a story that was in Agents of Atlas, is that they, her and Namor got together and actually found a new place for Atlantis to restart Atlantis.
So she's going around trying to collect them and encounters you can call them a lost tribe of Atlanteans who have found a place that they really like where they are and they don't want to leave. And the reason why they don't want to leave is because there are certain elements in that area that are compelling them to stay. The clever thing about this is, as in Power Girl, Jeff Parker also gives you a little introduction to who Namora is and how she fits into the overall scheme of the Marvel Universe. There's a bit, there's a nod to Civil War and all these other events, and Namor is part within Agents of Atlas. So, he's filling in a lot of background details on Namora and how she ended up with the Agents of Atlas, which is kind of neat. There are also these, there's a bit near the end, which again goes to show how Jeff Parker is able to take the unique characteristics of each member of a team and use them. And there's a scene in here where Namora realizes something that she wouldn't have realized unless she had been a member of the Agents of Atlas and part of that group dynamic with a particular member of the team that deals in fantasy. And it was very clever, very, very clever. Again, it's just stellar.
And again, I have to say, for the second time in 1 week, I've never heard of Sarah Pichelli. I've never seen her work, and I was just amazed by the art in here. Like, another artist, I mean, it doesn't really happen that often to actually see a new artist and be like, wow, this is actually pretty nice stuff. But 2 in 1 week.
Sarah Pichelli and Rachel Rosenberg, who's a Midwesterner, she did the color on this. She did a great job.
But the artwork is perfect. Again,
I'm sorry, not Rachel's Rochelle. She always yells at me when I say it wrong. Anyway, go.
Sorry. No, but again, it kind of has a little bit of a manga feel, just a little bit. It's got more of a cartooning feel than Power Girl. But man, I would tell you one thing: if this team did a Namora monthly, I would buy it in a fucking second. This book was just awesome. Like the writing was great, the story was great, and the artwork was perfect.
The thing though is that this book needs to sell, is the issue. And
when you have it as standard 0.2-page book for $3.99, first of all, you have it working against it. Second, it's a one-shot. You have that working against it. And third, Marvel is labeling these female-centric one-shots like that they're doing. And we bitch about Marvel doing this. They don't need to label it like that. No. Just put out the comic.
Right.
Doesn't
have to be a girl comic.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. So
but in previews when they listed this, it was the Women of Marvel one shots. That's how it was solicited. You don't need to advertise it like that. Just put out a damn good comic. Like Power Girl. I don't think DC's ever really went after that crowd saying, hey, look, girl power, man. Like, Power Girl.
Well, not like that. You had the Minx line, which kind of meant because they kind of.
I talked about that on a blog too, about how they were attacking. They're not attacking, but they were going after that segment,
female,
and they were coming out saying, but when you say that it's a female line, everyone else is just going to think it's a female line. Right. It's not for me. If you're a guy.
Yeah, and you don't market. In general, you do not market comic books as boy comics.
Right.
So what's the point there? And I think that's always been the issue with female creators. They don't need necessarily to be highlighted as female creators, but they want to be on an even field as all the other creators, as male creators.
And again,
I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of you guys don't like to hear this, but that does happen.
No, it does. I totally agree.
It does happen in
all
comics.
the time, and then we get shit on for
we get shit on for
talking about it.
Female creators do not. They just do not get the same consideration as male creators.
So, anyway, getting into, we wanted to put these two together because thematically they are female-centric comics, like you said. And this is how female-centric comic characters should be handled, without it being, that they're a superhero that just happens to be a woman,
right?
But also they do have feminine qualities, and here it was interesting to see because you always see Namora just beating the crap out of things, and Atlas being bad. And this you actually kind of see the emotional side to her, and especially the kind of scenes that he has with Namora, her daughter.
Her daughter, yeah.
And that was a very awesome scene, and you don't see that a lot in Agents of Atlas.
Because she's kind of the badass,
right?
Yeah.
And this is Parker. And and she's always keeping it in check around other people, but here she's by herself,
right.
And Parker gets to expose that side of the character, and right. I liked it a lot. I mean, it's if you like Agents of Atlas, you should pick this up.
If you like good writing
or just good writing
solid artwork in general, you should be picking it up.
That's true.
Because it's not an X book. Yeah, because it's not an X book or a friggin' Avengers book. It's we've been down this road before. Anyway, two great books with two great characters and great creators that deserve consideration.
Yeah. We really gush about those books too. We gotta fix.
Well, we're compensating for our hate.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Because we're haters. Remember? So we gotta compensate for that. That's what we're doing.
I think we're overcompensating though.
I think he's compensating. All right. When we come back. Hey, let's get back into the hate.
Yeah, let's get back into the hate.
With Last Rants. We hope you join us.